Hello, and thank you for watching. In this video, we will unpack the 2020-2021 Priority Instructional Content in ELA Literacy and Mathematics document by Student Achievement Partners. We will focus on the mathematics portion in this video. Please feel free to pause at any point so that you may follow along. We will begin on page 8, which is the first page of the mathematics section. This introductory page explains the purpose of the document, which is providing guidance about content priorities for each grade level. The authors highlight the importance of focusing on the depth of instruction, not the pace. You will see many references and connections to the Addressing Unfinished Learning After COVID-19 School Closures document by the Council of the Great City Schools. We will now transition to the content priorities for secondary mathematics. Please go to page 42. This section begins with an introductory page for the grade level, followed by the Where to Focus section. We are now looking at grade 6 mathematics. Please pay close attention because we will be gathering several documents that we will use in order to effectively utilize this guide. First, we want to make sure that we have access to the focus documents for each grade level. They are hyperlinked to this document. Once you click on the link, you will arrive at this page, the Where to Focus Grade 6 Mathematics document. Here you will see the major cluster of standards for the grade level, as well as the supporting and the additional clusters. Please note that these cluster of standards have not changed. Going back to our document here, we also want to make sure that we have a copy of the grade level standards. So in this tab, you will see that I have already tabbed the 6th grade standards. And now that I have those 3 documents ready, the Where to Focus document, which is hyperlinked here, this priority instructional content document, and the grade level standards, I am ready to get started. This next page has a consideration for addressing those priority grade level content standards. Again, here to the left, you will see the cluster of standards that are considered priority standards. Let's take a moment to review the 6th grade standards. 6 RPA, 6 NSA, 6 NSC, 6 EE standards, A, B, and C. Now let's take a look at our Where to Focus document for grade 6. As you will see, we have the same standards here, 6 RPA, 6 NSA, 6 NSC, and the 6 EE standards A, B, C. Now, this particular guide is telling us specific considerations for those cluster of standards. As I mentioned, the major standards are still the same. What this document is doing is it is highlighting those special considerations for those cluster of standards. Let's go through a few of these. 6 RPA. If we take a look at our Where to Focus document, this cluster of standards is about understanding ratio concepts and use ratio reasoning to solve problems. What are those special considerations for the 2020-2021 school year? There are no special considerations for this cluster of standards. Time spent on instruction and practice should not be reduced. Now let's look at 6 NSA. 6 NSA focuses on applying and extending previous understandings of multiplication and division to divide fractions by fractions. Let's look at those special considerations. Here, the recommendation is to incorporate foundational work on division with unit fractions and whole numbers, leveraging the work that students did in 5th grade in the early part of students' work on fraction division. Let's do another. 6NSC. 6NSC focuses on applying and extending previous understandings of numbers to the system of rational numbers. If we look at our priority instructional content document, the consideration is to incorporate foundational work on the coordinate plane, leveraging the work that students did around 5G A1 in 5th grade to support students' entry into this cluster. Now let's try one last one, 6EEA. If we look at 6EEA, it is applying and extending previous understanding of arithmetic to algebraic expressions. The consideration is to emphasize equivalent expressions 6EEA 3 and 4, particularly the idea that applying properties of operations to an expression always results in an expression that is equivalent to the original one. So here they are emphasizing 6EEA 3 and 4. Now let's take a look at what this 6EEA cluster of standards looks like. I am now going to go to my grade level standards. You will see that the 6EEA cluster of standards consist of A1, A2, A2A, A2B, A2C, and then A3 and A4. So if you'll remember, the special consideration is to emphasize these two standards here. Now that we have reviewed the special considerations for addressing the priority grade level content, we will now look at the next chart, which contains the considerations for addressing those remaining grade level content standards. Now, although we have our major cluster of standards that we want to emphasize, that does not mean that we neglect or we omit those supporting or additional cluster of standards. However, it means that we are prioritizing our time with those major cluster of standards, especially during the remote teaching and learning. Now, what they are offering here are considerations for addressing those remaining cluster of standards. Here, they are providing recommendations on eliminating particular lessons, emphasizing certain aspects of these standards, or how to incorporate or leverage that foundational work from previous grades when addressing these specific standards. The final section of the grade level content are considerations on how to facilitate social, emotional, and academic development through grade level content. Here you will see connections to the standards for math practice. In this example, we want students to reason abstractly and quantitatively. Math practice 2. These sample actions that are provided are to build a safe community where math discourse supports active listening, promotes diverse perspectives and insights, and allows students to consider others' reasoning to advance their own mathematical understanding. One example they provide is utilizing a which one does not belong activity. Again, you will see several sample actions and connections to the standards for math practice as you facilitate social, emotional, and academic development for mathematics. You will then see the same structure for grade 7 with an introductory page, the Where to Focus document, and the special considerations for addressing priority grade level content, addressing those remaining grade level content standards, and how to facilitate social, emotional, and academic development through grade level content. and same for 8th grade.